will.
Probably about 6.5, 7 feet tall.
All this darker, more jagged rock, it kind of looks like coral. This is all chert. And so what chert is, an extremely hard rock. It's full of a bunch of tiny little plankton called crystalline. And it's super hard. It's actually harder than stainless steel. So the Cherokee that were here were known to use this stuff to make arrowheads, knife blades. You can start fires with this stuff. Right above our head here, this is what it looks like on the inside. So as you pass by here, look at this. It's like a grayish blue, almost granite-like color. And as you go up to the surface, there's layers of chert. So it's chert, limestone, chert, limestone. And when the water was coming in, carving out this cave system, because chert's so much harder, it takes a lot longer to erode. And so essentially it just got left behind when the caves were being created. And that's what's happened to the Millennium Falcon there. Then if you look along the back wall, you'll notice all these little carved out divots in the rock. It kind of looks like scaling. This is what's called scalloping, and it's from water flow or water movement. And so what we're looking at all through here is an old riverbed. Now the river's still here and it's still flowing. It's just carved itself down about 100 feet below us. So if you come back and do the 4-hour adventure tour, we'll take you down to the river and let you look at it. We crossed it earlier today.
Can't swim in it.
No, well, you wouldn't want to. It's about 50 degrees.
What is this right here?
That's all chert.
Is that what that is? Just a big hump?
Yeah,
I couldn't
yeah.
tell if it's man-made or natural.
Yeah, so it kind of looks the same color as the dirt, so we got a way of identifying it. If it looks like dirt, it's probably chert. The locals call it cow patties because they look like cow poop. But
Keep on going.
about 25 feet or so and hang out.
Thought that was it. But keep on going. Watch your head, Jim.
So we named this one the Wishing Rock. You wish you hadn't hit it.
Yep. Oh.
So up here on the ceiling, there's a lot of little bits of seashell and stuff up there to look at. But right here, we've got some hieroglyphics. And these are from the 60s. You'll notice there was a little cemetery when you drove up on the left-hand side of the road. That's the Roberts Cemetery. So they were some of the original owners of the property out here. They were actually gifted this land by the government for their service during the Civil War. And so they owned it from Civil War up until 2017 when we bought it from a man named Charlie Roberts. So you'll notice we're on Charlie Roberts Road here. There's actually a really cool story about how the Roberts family tie into an old legend about John Wilkes Booth. And you can Google this too. But they say that John Wilkes Booth faked his death. He moved out here and he married a woman named Louisa Payne. And we're situated in Payne's Cove here. And if you go out into the cove, there's graveyards with the name Booth on them. And in the Winchester Courthouse, which is 30 minutes from here, there's a Jake Booth who signed his name in there at one point. And so the story is he changed his name to Jake, said he was a distant relative of John Wilkes Booth. He married, had kids, and he moved up to Swanee, Tennessee. But they were part of the Roberts family there. So it was really cool. I think it was on the History Channel even.
Is this supposed to be ADBS?
I don't know what that is. That's newer, so that really needs to be smudged out.
So the Roberts family owned this for hundreds of years.
Yeah.
And then sold it to a music company.
Well, we weren't a music company.
Well, not music company, but
Yeah, it's a privately owned business. But yeah,
Not music company, but like that's just
Yeah,
what a random time to sell.
he was getting older. He didn't have enough money to do anything with the land. He was ready to retire. He moved to Florida, live the rest of his life. And we gave him a nice little chunk of change.
Kids didn't want to carry it on, I guess.
Well, I think he was hesitant to sell it to the kids. There's a big problem with these old timers passing away. They leave the land to the kids, and the kids sell it to anybody who wants to write them a check. And then next thing you know, there's a Walmart next door.
Yeah.
And so he wanted to kind of preserve the land that was here.
Hell yeah.
And that's what we're doing here,
That's awesome.
really.
That's awesome.
Very cool.
Then Mr. Northcutt, Steve. Anybody staying at those little cabins like a half mile down the road? Those are on the Northcutt's property. His son Chris is the one who owns those. He owns that land over there. So Steve, he just passed away a few months ago, but he used to tell us stories about making whiskey and stuff down here when he was a teenager. Yeah. Well, back then they were using carbide. They didn't have flashlights or headlamps, and of course there was no electricity in here back then. And so what carbide is a chemical compound that when you mix it with water, it creates acetylene gas. And so they would funnel the gas through a lamp with a burn tube, and they would take a little flint striker, strike it, and light the gas, and you had a big bright white flame that came off the tip of the lamp. And that's what they had to see with. Maybe a few feet of light in front of you. Usually the plates on them were mirror polished, so it would kind of amplify the light a bit. But yeah, that's all they had back then.
Where did they get the water for the moonshine at?
Spring water.
Is there any? So
There's a spring right over our heads. Yeah, yeah. You're welcome to go look at it too. When you go back out of this one, there's a black railing on the left-hand side.
Yeah.
Walk that black railing. There's a spring just around the corner.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'll go first if you don't
Oh,
want
here
to.
he goes, here he goes.
All right, y'all. Let's get out of here.
There's always one.
There he is, look how fast that was.
Hang on a sec.
Oh, I'm going that way. I'm not going back that way. There's a big rattlesnake right there, and I ain't going back.
I have a feeling this will not
Okay.
show very well. What I try?
I know,
You can actually do it on your hands and your toes. Literally, look how far it
I
is.
know.
Is he in?
He's in it.
Oh man, that's small.
I think he's going back to you.
I'm gonna go this way.
You have to take a picture of me. If I do this, you have to take a picture.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm guessing right here. I'd say between all that. But it's an ancient type of coral that was here a long time ago. There's actually a piece of seashell right there. But everywhere you look, there's a piece or a fragment of something, and that's because all this is just crushed up fossil. And then the water that was here would mix with things like dead plants, and it would make the water acidic, and so it was the acidity in the water that carved out all the limestone, which is really soft compared to most rock. You can see also it's shiny because it's really wet. So this is a wet cave, which means it's a growing cave. All of our formations are still growing. They're still depositing water from the surface. This is actually good for us because dry caves are not very safe caves. So when you have a really dry cave, it tends to build up lots of pressure, and it makes it more susceptible to things like cave-ins. The fact that this is a wet cave means that it's alive and well, essentially. Not really alive, but anybody who wants to see a bat up close.
I already spotted it.
Yeah? You want to see it up close?
He doesn't want to see you up.
No, he does not. I'm gonna be right here. That is so cool.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go get it if you want to.
So if he starts wiggling, we'll get away. But
You're a big talker.
they're in hibernation right now, so
Just a big talker.
they're sleeping pretty good. They can be down here for weeks and not wake up. But yeah, you can see they
I
come.
think I could crab walk out.
Now, if you keep going through the whole tunnel, you won't be able to crab walk. You'll have to get on there.
I mean, can I just like
Don't quite know what I'm getting into, but we'll see. Only one man enough to do it.
There he is.
Cool.
Roll all the way down here.
That video is probably going to be useless.
Oh my
Didn't even
gosh.
get dirty.
You're
I'm
covered. Oh wow.
I thought he was lying about the collar on the belly part, but he wasn't. It was taking a minute to get started. I'm a little out of breath. Oh man. Yeah. It's probably going to be a useless video, but
If that were.
And coming off the ceiling, this is what's called a stalactite. And each little cone coming off of it's got a little drip of water on the tip of it. And so it's depositing these water droplets that have minerals inside of them, like magnesium and calcium. And as those droplets fall to the ground, they'll start to build up stalagmites on the bottom. So stalactite, stalagmite. And then over time, both of these will keep growing and growing until eventually they'll fuse together. When they do that, they'll form a column. This is really old. I'm gonna hit you with a dad joke real quick. Do you know why they're called this?
Why?
Because that's what you call them. Now I just noticed there's a little bat sleeping right here on the Somebody doesn't like bats? Well, that's about full grown right there, so that's about as big as they get. Yeah, they're a type of micro bat called a tricolor bat. And so they're called that because they can appear to be 3 different colors, brown, gray, or black. But they're solid. I got 3.